Oh, welcome back. Mike from Canavan Wealth doing Mike Reads the Journal. It is March 28th. Let's jump right into it. Substantially less of a crazy week than it was last week, of course, which was kind of in the middle of the bank meltdown. So, starting with the markets, as always, down a little bit today, kind of flat yesterday. NASDAQ was down, Dow was up, S&P was pretty much flat. Down a little bit from 5 days ago, about 1%. About what we were up the week before, so nothing shocking there. From a month ago, down about a third. Year to date, still kind of hovering here around 3.5. Honestly, the fact that we're not down five. This is kind of when the banking crisis hit. The fact that we're not down 5 to 10% from there is a good sign. I think too early to tell whether we're through this or not, but ultimately, the fact that we're just down a little bit this week doesn't deter me from kind of the long term what's going on, especially since Powell's comments last week were that most likely interest rates would not go up to the even higher levels that they had kind of thought a month before, just because they think with what's going on with the banks will probably be a little bit tighter on money, and that will effectively have the same impact as raising interest rates. So it could be that we do not have too many more interest rate hikes to go here, but we'll just have to see how that is. All right, let's jump into it. This first one is about, ChatGPT, which is this artificial intelligence that is all over the news. I've done a couple of videos on it. Talked a little bit about one of my one question interviews was on this, and it talks about jobs that are most necessary, jobs that will most necessarily be replaced kind of first by artificial intelligence. According to this study, accountants are kind of first on the chopping block. If I were an accountant down there, I would not be scared. I would be excited that you're finally getting some help. My experience with clients and talking with accountants is there are just not enough of them. There are not enough of them graduating, filling the ranks. Those that do graduate often get snapped up by busy businesses. The kind of individual CPA out there is certainly not afraid of things like TurboTax and probably not afraid of artificial intelligence. There are not enough of them to go around already. We need someone to fill the gap. If ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, is going to be able to kind of fill that gap or possibly increase their capacity, which I think is a more likely scenario, great, I bet, is most of their responses, because most of them are way overburdened with the amount of work that they want to take on. This is similar for financial advisors, right? Financial advisors we're supposed to be replacing for like 20, 30 years now with good access to online investments. And while there are absolutely lots of things that have reduced the need for good financial advisors, the fact is that no one is getting into the industry. And because of that, there's a massive shortage, in my opinion, of quality financial advisors that are willing to take on new clients. I could do a whole video about that, which I'm not going to. It talks about, kind of writers, a number of things. I'll link this article. I think the bigger point I wanted to make here is that throughout human history, and what I'm about to say is not this is well kind of understood in the world, nothing ground shattering here, but throughout human history, we have had major technological breakthroughs that we thought was going to put us all out of jobs. And the simple truth is just the world changed, and the types of jobs that we did changed. The best example is agriculture, right? At some point in history, 90% of humans worked on producing food. And then along came the tractor and all sorts of innovations that made it so a very small percentage of us now work on producing food, and we do something else. Is ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, different? Yes, I think artificial intelligence, unlike machines of the past, does kind of replace the one thing that has always been irreplaceable up to this point, which is kind of the human brain processing power. But I don't think that's going to change for a really long time. I think artificial intelligence will move substantially faster than most people expect it to. And yet, at the same time, I think the human brain is still pretty far off in terms of what artificial intelligence is going to be capable of. So who knows? Probably by the time I'm leaving the labor force, we will have figured that answer out. All right, here's one job that is almost certainly not going to be replaced by artificial intelligence anytime soon: electricians. And I think you could add to this pool plumbers, framers, skilled laborers in general, craftsmen, tradesmen, often. And this is specifically talking about the move to green. This is one of the Wall Street Journal's kind of picture articles, which we'll go through here in a minute. But this is not limited to electricians, but they're specifically talking about updates to the electrical grid. As the world goes green, I'm not going to go to all the politics of this, but as the world goes green, the need for electricians is good, and it's a good time for America because our electrical grid is very out of date and needs updating anyways, right? So if we can make that more green, make that more reliable, and update lots of things in the U.S. that is good for everyone, no matter what your politics is on kind of climate change and those things. So my biggest advice to young people these days is that if they don't feel like the college route for them is for them, or even if they feel like, well, that's just the only way, this is undeniably, I think, one of the brightest futures for anyone who wants to go into the trades for lots of reasons. One, it's fairly inexpensive to get started in the trades compared to becoming an accountant or something. And two, it's an active job that I think is fairly rewarding work. And three, and this surprises most of them, it has virtually unlimited earning potential. And which is odd for a job that you get paid by the hour. But if there is someone out there with the talent to build business and manage people, then becoming an electrician, learning that trade forward and backwards for a number of years, and then taking that experience and turning it into a business that makes electricians, meaning finds the people that can do the job, trains them, and then employs them, is so valuable in the building world and in just the world of business, right? I have talked to a lot of people who oddly enough, I talked to someone who had become injured. They were disabled now. Effectively, they used to be effectively a tradesperson, and they were trying to decide on what they wanted to do with their life. And I was very much trying to encourage them, go get a 2-year business degree and run the office for these companies that employ electricians and plumbers and the trade it was that you did. Because that is the biggest struggle that those companies have, is understanding employment laws, how they pay employees, running retirement plans, all sorts of things, right? They can run the wires. Sorry. They can run the wires. My phone rings to everything when it goes off. So they can run the wires, but they struggle with all of those other things, right? So if you have the talent for building business, dealing with people, training people, the trades, the sky is the limit. You can run one of the, a huge company that does electrical work starting as an electrician. Okay. This next one. As the world updates and becomes more modern and becomes more green and is updating our electrical infrastructure, so too are we changing our commercial real estate. And this is talking about local residents not liking warehouses being built in their backyard. And I am sympathetic to this because here in Idaho, we have warehouses being built all over the place. It's an interesting place here in southeastern Idaho in terms of accessing both Montana and the rest of Idaho and coming up from Utah. So we're kind of, there's a bottleneck in the Snake River Valley where all trucks must go through certain areas. And we're seeing this as well. Nobody likes this in their backyard. A strip mall is slightly better, and that's what people have become used to. But instead of strip malls these days, we build warehouses because you don't want to go out to the strip mall anymore. Or more likely, your town already has all the necessary infrastructure for retail because retail is becoming, it's not going away, but it's becoming more condensed. So we don't need more retail space in order for you to be able to go buy the things you want in person, but we do not have enough shipping infrastructure to deliver all of the things that you do not want to go to the store for. Or if you're like us and you buy all your groceries and just have them brought out to your car, right? This is what your grocery store is going to look like in a little bit. It's just going to be a delivery hub like the back of Walmart where we get our groceries delivered from. So um, I am very sympathetic to communities that don't want warehouses. It's funny because in this article they're talking about a specific community, and there's this big area that they want built, and of course the locals want a park built on it, which of course they money spender, not a money generator for the town. So the town's not real excited about that. They of course want to approve commercial real estate because it will bring in taxes, create jobs, which is generally good for the community. But the neighbors immediately around it don't want to stare at a warehouse, which I am sympathetic to. So it's the modern world that's changing. I think there's another article that I didn't cover today about commercial real estate and kind of office buildings. And I think, again, as the world changes, opportunity will come up. I think we are going to see a lot of office buildings being changed over to apartments, even in rural areas where old storefronts and things like that. I think you're going to increasingly see those being built into homes, places for people to live because of how unaffordable housing is. So really today's talking about the changing world, artificial intelligence replacing some jobs, the shortages in the trades, which I think this also harkens back to kind of my generation, that it was, we were told the only path to success was through college. And because of that, we have a whole generation missing in the trades. I think that message has changed. I think that's going to change over the coming years. And then the changing infrastructure, not only electrical, but commercial real estate here, and how that is changing. All right, that is it. We've got the next seminar coming up, just got announced, should be on the website here soon. It's in the middle of April on the changing middle class. And if you like these kind of content, please like the video and subscribe so you can get this delivered to you when I release it. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you.